Live. Okay, and we are live. Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back for your latest Manchester United news, takeover news, and transfer news as well. Everything will be on the show as always tonight. So, with that in mind, let's get into the big topics. Let's get into where we are starting off with, and that, of course, is the takeover. So some small updates have come out today from Rob Dawson of ESPN and from Fabrizio Romano himself regarding the takeover, and I think it's only fair that we go ahead and discuss them both. So we can see in the comments as well, Anthony's in here. Good to see you, man. He is saying Mount and Hojlund this week. It could be the case. There is certainly rumours that that might be happening. Let's hold tight on that. Let's wait and see where we stand. So in terms of the takeover, where are we currently? Let me get these pieces of news into the chat. You guys can see them as well just as we go through, something I always do on the streams. Get them into the chat. You guys can read them as well as we go along. So on the takeover, first and foremost, Rob Dawson has said both Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim have senior management places in place in case their offer goes through. However, it is likely to take time. That's not good. You don't have to be an expert in finance, an expert in football to know that it is not good when we are going into the transfer window, when we are very, very close to having to sign players and we don't know who the owners are going to be. Now, for Fabrizio Romano, he has followed this up as well. He has said the ownership situation is affecting our summer transfer plans. Erik Ten Hag has made it clear he wants signings as soon as possible. I'm sure Manchester United fans do as well. We all want the signings done early. We're seeing PSG, they've signed Ugarte today. Liverpool, they've basically signed Alexis McAllister already. Man City are active in the market, so are Newcastle, and so are Arsenal going for Declan Rice. What we have to do is get on our bikes. We need to get to work and get it done. So in the poll, guys, we are running it out. Who will be United's first signing? The options are, of course, Mason Mount, Harry Kane, Rasmus Hojlund, and Kim Min Jae. So get voting on that. We can see Daz is in the comments as well, saying it's going to be a disaster. It's looking like it. It is shaping up to what we did not want to see, man. Honestly, the last thing United fans wanted was any sort of uncertainty, any sort of drama. We wanted this done in March, because if you're buying something for 6 billion, that's going to take a while to do. It's not as simple as, just walking up with the money and, okay, there's the keys, work away. There is a lot of legal proceedings we'll have to go through for something this big. And, of course, that's going to take more time. United, we are definitely going to have Glazer influence in this summer transfer window. And that, for me, is a disaster. Now, Fabrizio Romano was on the United stand earlier. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. Very good interview, and he was basically saying along the lines that United summer will take place in two parts. There is an initial budget that we will spend, so that's where we're seeing these early links to Mount, to Hojlund, to Kim Min Jae. Then we're going to try boost it up with sealed and potentially the takeover, and go again later on in the window to try get the rest of our players. That's not a good strategy. That is not what we want to be seeing. We want to see clear, quick, ruthless business, and once again at United, we're getting the very opposite of that. So guys, keep on voting on the poll. I can see plenty of votes going in, 16 so far. Let me know who will be United's first summer signing in this transfer window. If you're asking for my opinion, I think it's going to be Mason Mount. I think Mount seems to have the most concrete links to him so far. It looks to be the case that Mason Mount will be United's first signing. But get your thoughts in down below. New comments in there as well. Dublin Games, good to see you, man. I'm assuming you're obviously from Dublin. So yeah, I'm from near Belfast, so pretty close, man. Good to see you on the channel. Thank you very much for joining with us. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them into the comments. Let me know as well. At the moment, Mason Mount is currently leading that race in the poll, and he does seem to be the most likely first signing for Manchester United. There are other players, of course, not included on that poll. Adrien Rabiot, according to Italian sources, we are getting close to potentially bringing him on a free transfer. Not a bad signing. It all comes down to attitude and work rate, but certainly no denying he's a talented player. And for free, yeah, he could be a good option. But yeah, otherwise, in terms of the takeover, very little development, and I'm sure that's concerning for you guys, concerning for me as well. I will bring you, of course, the very latest on that as and when it comes in. So as we stand at the moment, now the Glazer family, those guys are holding out for as much money as they possibly can. That's what it's all about with the Glazers, as always. Now, the Daily Express, they said this over the weekend. They said, once an offer is given the green light by the Glazer family, expect it to move quickly. We need this to go as quickly as possible. I'm hoping for big news this week. I think with the season finished and right before the transfer window starting, there is the ideal window of opportunity. Close this thing out, get the club sold, get a new owner in. That's what we have to do. That's what we must do in the next couple of weeks. So important that we do just that. And if we can go on getting the owner in within the next 2 weeks, at least know who will be buying the club. We can start to plan, we can start to budget, we can spend £150 million in the next couple of weeks. And if a new owner comes in, everything's took over by the end of what, like August, then maybe we can go on and have a more successful transfer window. But as Daz said, it does look at the moment like this is going to be a disaster, and that's not what we wanted as fans whatsoever. That's not where we wanted to be as a club. We wanted this pretty much sorted as quickly as possible. That's what we needed as a fan base. Let's see, Daz is saying in there, the problem is our gym's structure is not only a sale. Yeah, I mean, that is a big problem as well. Jim Radcliffe, he is looking to keep some of the Glazers on. There definitely will be a case of Radcliffe having to sell his own shares in companies, his investments, his bonds, whatever the guy holds his money in. Big T saying, I'm hearing Al Thani is considering pulling out. I mean, I'm not surprised. Hold on one sec. Yeah, I think, yeah, my side light has died on me here as well. But yeah, there could be talk of Al Thani potentially. But yes, as Big T says, there has been talk of Al Thani pulling out potentially, and that is not good. We need this club to be sold. We, by and large, seem to be thinking Qatar is the way to go with that, and it's imperative that we get sold as quickly as possible. It's not good to see rumors of guys bidding 5.5 billion, not being told if their bid's been accepted, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, these guys are going to pull out and we're going to be left with Radcliffe. That's not what we want. That's not where we want to be as a fan base. We want this club sold. LDG is saying Glazers are in financial trouble. The banks are crashing worldwide and they'll want their money back, not only for United, but for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They want as much cash from United as possible. And Innocent is saying as well, I don't think the Glazers want to go. I don't think they want to go. I think if they could hold the club, they would. I think they're trying to sell the club because, simply put, as LDG says, financial markets are a real mess right now. Interest rates are going up. The debt repayments will be going up. Manchester United, we are not as profitable now because they've ran us into the ground for the last 18 years, and all of a sudden we aren't making the same kind of money we once were. So there definitely will be a case of the Glazers' ownership model kind of failing. It's stuttering. The money is not flowing in anymore. They are not guaranteed Champions League football every year, and they have to go out and sell the club, in my opinion. And the financial markets, I know it isn't really something we go into too much in detail in the club, sorry, on the channel here, but Jim Radcliffe, his money is heavily tied up to the financial markets. I mean, Qatar do have the money in hand, in the bank, right now to buy the club. Radcliffe, he might have to sell a lot more of his investments than he thought he would have to. So there definitely is something going on, I think, as well. Scott is saying we're hoping they're gone. The Glazers on the transfer window in the past have only put us behind the leeches. And Big T says maybe the Glazers actually want Al Thani to pull out. That way Jim is the only option. I think that's good for Jim Radcliffe if Al Thani pulls out. I think hold on one second. I think that could kind of be spun. I think that could be like, oh look, United sources coming out to the media would be like, oh, Fanny, he doesn't even care for the club. He pulled out of negotiations. There would be definitely a type of spin going on, in my opinion. LDG says the Glazer family do not know how to run a business. No, they don't. What the Glazer family know how to do is divide a fan base, take dividends out, buy things with debt, and run a football club, sit and live off the success of Sir Alex Ferguson, of the brand he built, of the legacy he built, and that's what they've done for the last 18 years. These guys are not good businessmen. If they were good businessmen, we wouldn't be 500 million in debt, we wouldn't have lower revenues. We wouldn't be struggling to find commercial partners. They're not good. They're not good owners whatsoever. Not good businessmen. And yes, there will be chaos if they stay. Absolutely. But let's quickly move on, guys. Just from the Glazers for a minute, we're going to talk about some transfers as well. The big topic, of course, we're getting a lot more transfer news than we are in terms of the actual takeover. So let's have a look at it. Let's see where we're standing at the moment. And the first guy that we will be looking at, of course, it's Mason Mount, a transfer that is growing closer day by day, and there certainly is a lot of developments happening all the time. LDG says 1 billion debt, by the way. Yeah, I think that's like total amount we've repaid, but we haven't even touched the initial amount we actually own. It's like we've only paid the interest, so it's not great at all. Let's see, Rob Dawson has been speaking on Mason Mount, so this is a good bit of news for United fans. I'm sure you guys want to see some signings brought in. Let's see. Love that. There we go. So Rob Dawson, speaking about Mason Mount, has said United are pushing ahead with a bid to sign Mason Mount. Despite the ongoing uncertainty about the ownership, the board, including the Glazers, have given the green light to go get Mount. So I think this fits in with what Romano was saying. He was saying this on United Stands earlier. It was a pretty good interview. Wasn't too much by ways of exclusives dropping, but if you listen between the cracks, there are definitely interesting points coming out. And he was saying one thing we have to be sure of, is United are going to go and spend initially a large budget of around 150 million, and then with sales, we're going to try bring more players in. Big T says the Glazers are good businessmen, but only for themselves. Yes, they are very good at making money out of running a business badly, if that makes sense. They are vultures and leeches, and that is what they thrive off. They have just sucked the life out of this club, sucked the money out of this club, and they bought the club with what, 250 million? They just took out a big loan to do it, and they've been here ever since. Charles is saying, I need Mount. Yeah, I mean, I would like Mount as well. Satwant is in there with Glazers out and Ratcliffe out. Yes, let's see what happens on that regard. A lot of people and stories coming out tonight that potentially we could be looking at Ratcliffe winning the race. I know that is something that probably will be covered in depth across the week. Do expect a lot of updates on this one across the week. This will be a growing story and one that we desperately need to go the right way. I think the biggest thing is getting rid of the Glazer family right now, and if Radcliffe is going to come in and keep those guys, I think the fans will not be for him. And Charles is saying, give me good players. Yes, Erik Ten Hag has said the exact same thing as you, man. He says, get me good players. You're also saying that. So yeah, completely in agreement. If you guys want to keep voting on the poll, I can see more people joining in. It's good to see you guys with this on this Monday evening, wherever you guys are in the world. I am asking you guys tonight, who will be United's first signing this summer? Will it be Mason Mount, Harry Kane, Rasmus Hojlund, or Kim Min Jae? That is the question for you guys. Get your thoughts down in the comments as well. Plenty to go through. Big T says, I thought, if a week ago you were asked to name 5 players you would have wanted to sign, would Mounts have been one of the 5? No, I don't think he would have. I think a week, 2 weeks ago, I was all for signing like an Enzo Lafitte type player, maybe kind of like a, I don't know, like obviously a lot of people wanted De Jong again. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think Mount, I think he could be a good player. I think since he has come in, I've been looking at how he plays and looking at where he would fit in, and we're probably looking at him in that Eriksen role, kind of like a leggier type of Eriksen. Does have that goal scoring ability, the assist making ability, and he can press. He has the legs, he has that work rate. He could be a good signing. I think he's not a big name signing. I think he is someone who comes in and does a job, and not every signing is going to be a massive one. I think if he comes in and makes the team better, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Let's see what is happening as well. Just seeing something there coming up about the takeover. I will check that for you guys. There was reports coming out there that maybe something by the end of the week. I mean, I don't know how many end of the weeks there's gonna be. Like, but going back to Mason Mount, So on Mount, of course, very good player, very talented player. I think he could be very good coming in. CPC says, after the news of Sheikh Jassim pulling out, Sir Jim is getting closer to own United with all 6 Glazers on board. Fingers crossed. I hope Qatar does something with another bid. I hope so. I really would like to see it. Stephanie is saying, big ups, great content again. Just subs. Thank you very much. I do appreciate the subs, and all the support from you guys has been incredible. All week on across the entire season, absolutely fantastic. Blow me away every single time, you guys. Let's see, in terms of Mason Mount, Fabrizio Romano was speaking on him, and he says it will cost around 60 million if it goes through. Personal terms are not a problem, and United want to pay 45 to 50 million. I think we are getting to a relatively lower transfer fee. This is something, of course, came out they wanted 18 million initially. Now it's gone down to 45, 50. I think they will eventually settle on a deal. Let's see who is in the chat. Plenty of people are hopping in. Charles is saying, which player is coming to Manchester United? Could be a lot of players coming potentially, and we do need it. We need 5 players this window, I think. He's in there. Dad says, looks like it's going to be Jim. It could well be. And Big T says, come on, everybody, smash the like button. It really helps the community. Thank you very much for that, man. And yes, guys, hit that like button. Really helps me out. Helps the community out as well. You guys are nothing short of incredible, genuinely. And yes, so we are running the poll at the moment. We're asking for your guys' thoughts. Who will be the first signing this summer? Will it be Mount, Kane, Hojlund, or Kim Min Jae? Players who are definitely well linked to Manchester United. So I have got 2 pieces of information in there regarding Mason Mount. So Fabrizio says around about 45 to 50 million. Peter Boyle is saying around about 60 million, and personal terms will not be an issue. So I think that's very positive news. Who's in there? Wesley is saying Glazer should have already left due to the debt they've accumulated throughout the years at Man United. Yeah, they should have. If the world was a fair place, they absolutely would have. Irfan is saying Goretzka. Yes, of course, Goretzka, a player linked to United today. Now, will it happen? I don't know. I like Goretzka. CPC is saying Mount is close to signing. And Pastor Milner is in the chat as well, saying I would love to see Qatar buy United because these Glazers don't mind our team and I'm fed up with them. So please, people in England, save Manchester United and stop the Glazers. Thanks very much for your comment, man. I wish we could. I think if fans had any sort of a say in this, I think it would be done a long time ago. Unfortunately, we're talking about a public floated company and there's shareholders and stock markets and stuff. A lot of legal stuff that we do have to be worried about in terms of an overall sale. But let's have another look at some players coming in. As Innocent has just said, we need a world-class striker. Let's talk about a striker. So, the most likely striking signing for Manchester United this summer is Rasmus Hojlund. Now, this is according to Fabrizio Romano and from John Cross of the Mirror. 2 very good journalists, of course. Who's in there as well? Mazden is saying Mount is close to signing. Yes, he could be. And Big T says missing an absolute bargain in McAllister could have got him cheaper for Mount. We could have. I hope that what we do is we turn around to Chelsea and we say, okay, Alexis McAllister's gone to Liverpool, 45 million. Mason Mount's worth 45 million. We'll give you this much. Hopefully that happens. Although knowing United, it wouldn't happen. I think we all know, and I'm sure you guys agree, if we wanted to buy McAllister, we would have just paid £80 million for him. No doubt about it. So, John Cross from the Mirror has been saying Manchester United are stepping up their interest in Rasmus Hojlund. He is quickly emerging as the leading striker candidate and is available for around about £40 million. That's a great offer. That is a great price to pay for Rasmus Hojlund, a player who, if we do not sign, do what happens? He will go up in price a lot. Who's in there? Lucky Singh says Hojlund and Lavia, please. Yes, I would love Hojlund. I think Lavia is brilliant. I think if we want Lavia, we have to get him this summer. That's the way it's going to work out, because next season Man City can buy him as a contract clause for around about £30 million. Let's go. Let's get him early. Let's pay a little bit more, maybe 35, 40. Get the guy signed. He doesn't need to be playing championship football, and he could be a really good asset at United. Thando is saying we need Kane and Mount first after Qatar ownership. Perfect start. Kim Min Jae and Hojlund after. The Glazers, please just leave and take the Qatar offer. They delayed the whole process because they are greedy. Yes, absolutely. It is greed. It is money. It is those guys looking every last penny out of this football club once again. That is what those guys want. They want nothing else but money. It is just greed with the Glazer family, and that's all it ever has been, and all it will ever will be. And I'm sure you guys know it as well. Lucky Singh is saying Lavia would be big for you. Yeah, I mean, I would love Lavia. I think he's a brilliant player. Very good at just 18 and plays in a similar position to Casemiro. I mean, if you're 18 years old, you're coming in, you're training alongside Casemiro, that could be brilliant. In terms of other transfers coming in, a little bit of news coming from Italy tonight. Manchester United are leading the race to sign Adrien Rabiot on a free transfer this summer. A player who we did try to buy last year. I do remember Rabiot sitting in an airport getting ready to go, and it didn't happen. For whatever reason, something to do with his agency, something to do with his mother as well. He's very involved with his career, and it did not happen. But I think it's good to see, and I think it's important to note, we can get some very good players in for very little, and Rabiot on a free, we could probably do worse. Let's see who else is in the comments. Innocent is saying on Mount, it will take a long time to sign him. For guys, the deal will not be easy. I do think it will take a while to sign, definitely, but I do think we can get him early enough because he wants to come. Chelsea will want to sell at some stage. They won't want him going for free. Who else is in the comments? Irfan is in here as well. Good to see him, man. Ward Price. I mean, yeah, James Ward Price. He's a good player. I think he might go to Newcastle. I don't know why. I've just got that thought in my head. Ben is saying, what's happening with the takeover? Well, man, in terms of the takeover, there was rumours that Jim Radcliffe is now leading the race. In terms of that as well, let me just say that there. In terms of the takeover as well, we are also looking at Qatar potentially thinking of pulling out. Now, that's just rumours at the moment. Who else is in the comments? Big T is saying, drag the deal out to disrupt pre-season. Yeah, that could happen. House is saying, look into the camera. It is hard, man, because I'm trying to read the comments from here as well as talking into the camera. It's not like a video. I do have to talk and see what you guys are saying. In terms of other things, Chelsea want to sell quickly, says Lucky Singh. I think they do. I think Chelsea will want to invest that money. They will want their business sorted out. They went for Ugarte and he's gone to PSG. They will move on to the next target. Their next target is Moses Caicedo, according to Fabrizio Romano. So it could be a potential signing for them next season. And what do we think about that? I think it's I think I would prefer Caicedo over Mount, but we do seem to be wanting Mount. Mount does seem to be the player we want to buy. Who else is in the comments? Let's see. Lucky Singh saying Chelsea want to sell quickly. Yes. Who else is in there? Ben is saying you just ignored what's happening with the takeover. Sorry, man. I did. It is in the top of the chat. Jim Radcliffe leading, as Lucky has said. Let me just read this out for you, man. I'll go up to the very top. Did put it in right at the very start of the stream, so just let me double check this for you guys. So yes, so we have two reports coming out today. First one is from Rob Dawson, who has said Jim Radcliffe and Qatar, they both have their top management teams in place, but things will take a while. It will not be a quick transfer. It will not be a quick deal to be completed. In terms of what Romano is saying, he is saying that the ownership situation is affecting our summer transfer plans. Erik Ten Hag wants his players in early, but it will not happen at this rate until that takeover is complete. In other news, of course, Daily Express have once again doubled down on their report that Manchester United will expect the takeover to move quickly if and when an offer is finally given a green light. But no offers have been given that green light so far, and that's not good enough for me. Certainly, it's very, very frustrating, all things considered. I mean, we've been doing this from what, like November? We want this sorted as soon as possible. Lucky Singh says Chelsea lost Ugarte. Yes, he went to PSG. They will want their next signing in no time, no doubt about that. And Big T says Erik Ten Hag has a meeting with the Glazers planned on the pre-season tour. Sounds like nothing is happening before then. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I really hope something happens in the next couple of days. We need this. It is getting a very, very long-winded process. We want this done. Would you rather two strikers, one midfielder and a goalkeeper, or one striker, two midfielders and one centre-back? I think I'm going to take two strikers, a midfielder and a goalkeeper. I think two strikers will cover us. We can't rely on Anthony Martial. We Veghorst is going, so we need two strikers, and I think another goalkeeper to come in. I think that will be good. Give De Gea some competition, and I think that's probably a better overall feeling for the transfer window. But obviously, I would love a centre back as well. Kim Min Jae, of course, heavily linked to United, but will it happen? I think striker has to be priority, then probably midfield, and then looking at centre backs, of course. Was talk coming out today, Harry Maguire could be on his way to Tottenham Hotspur. Now, if Harry Kane is coming the other way, maybe something can be worked out. But by all accounts, Harry Kane might be of interest to Real Madrid, of course, who have lost Karim Benzema this week. They will want a top level striker. Who is in the chat as well? Templar saying your ears are Man Utd Taco Swamp Dust. Okay. Lucky Singh says Avram Glazer does want Sheikh Jassim to bid 6 billion. I'm sure he wants it. I'm sure he will want that sort of money. I mean, it's obviously going to have to take a lot of money. That's what it's going to come down to. This will come down to as much money as possible. That's what the Glazers want out of this. They want that money out of Qatar, out of Sheikh Jassim, and whether it happens or not, whether he is happy to overspend so much money to go out and buy United, that's what it's going to take. Because at the moment, it does look like Jim Radcliffe is leading this race. Another comment says from Rajat saying Kim Min Jae and then Kane. Maybe that could be the options that we go for. I think we do need that top level striker. I think Harry Kane in this team makes a massive, massive difference because he will guarantee 25 to 30 goals next season. No doubt about it. Gavin is saying if the Glazers stay, don't let Sir Jim buy United because it will be wasted. Manchester United. Yes. And who else is in? Oh, sorry. Gavin says Glazers stay. Want to see if fans are going to go to Old Trafford and buy merchandise. Apologies, I was misreading comments. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it does come down to that, and I know a lot of fans do not want to be buying official club merchandise. I wholly support that. I mean, I haven't bought a legitimate United shirt in several years. I bought stuff off eBay, off DHgate. I've tried not to spend money at the club as and when possible. But I wouldn't have a go at anybody else for doing it either. But I do think hit the Glazers where it hurts. I think going after the sponsors was a very wise move by the 58. Something they have done very well is the online protests as well as turning up in person, of course. Who else is in there? Rajat saying FA Cup was disappointing. Lots of bad performances throughout the pitch. Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing. I think, all things considered, Man City are a better team than us at the moment, and I don't think we could have went and outplayed them. I think we could have offered more of a threat going forward, more in the counter-attack. I think Garnacho maybe should have come on a little bit earlier, but all things considered, I mean, City did score two incredible goals that probably wouldn't have happened in any other match. Like, Gundogan could try that first shot 100 times. He would never score it again. Other than that, there's still plenty to get through on the show. So some more to bring you guys on Rasmus Hojlund. So he would be keen on a move to Manchester United. This is according to Fabrizio Romano. Atalanta wants 60 to 65 million euros for him. So that will bring us to what, like 55, 68 million pounds. I think that's a good offer. I think that's a good price. And for once, United wouldn't be getting totally ripped off. I mean, I think the guy is very talented, very young as well, a lot of improvements in him, and I think he would be a really good signing for us. You guys seem to be thinking that as well. You guys, 11% have voted him as our first signing of the summer. But the guy in charge, the guy winning that poll at the moment, is Mason Mount, 60% of the vote. But guys, keep on voting on that poll. Let me know who will be United's first signing this summer. Will it be Mason Mount, Harry Kane, Rasmus Hojlund, or Kim Min Jae? Let me know your thoughts in the poll and get them down in the comments as well. Lucky Singh says, glad I don't go to Old Trafford. I wouldn't ever judge anyone for going to the matches. I go to as many matches as I can. Like, I will always try to get to as many United games as I can. I wouldn't go to the mega store and spend money there and stuff, but I wouldn't judge anybody who does. But I do think, certainly in my case, I just don't want the Glazers getting more money, especially not out of my own pocket. I mean, their ownership model is based on commercial revenue. It's also built on money coming in, leeching off United. If United do not finish Champions League consistently, that hits them in the pocket. And I think their ownership model, as we said earlier in the stream, it isn't a good business. They are not taking this club, making us really profitable. They're just leeching off us, and that's the thing. Rajat says Cody Gakpo wanted to go to Old Trafford. Joel and Avram got to make a move. I mean, the thing is with Cody Gakpo, there was a lot of talk for months now. Erik Ten Hag wanted Cody Gakpo last summer. We didn't pay the money for him then. We didn't give him money in January to spend. We give Erik Ten Hag, Sabitzer, and Veghorst, and that was it. Um, let's see who else is in the comments. Pastor Milner saying Mane could be a good signing. I'm sure of that. I mean, it could be an interesting one. I'm sure Liverpool fans would hate that. Big T says with VAR now, you see more at home now. Anyway, yes, I do think there's a real lack of communication between VAR and the fans in the ground. We do not know what's happening with those calls. So yeah, good point. Gavin has said Champions League is good and bad for us because it's money for the Glazers. If Erik Ten Hag can win and get Champions League money, they're more likely to stay. Yes, completely. They definitely could. Rajat says, I don't buy too much Adidas now. I do love them though. Yeah, I mean, I like Adidas clothes. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, I think whenever we're looking at where we're standing with the takeover and the business model of the Glazers, this has been written about for months and months. It does not work. And I think the biggest thing, I think what really put a nail in the coffin, so to speak, was the Super League. When the Super League didn't happen, all of a sudden the amount of money they could make from the club was capped. And whilst they still make money off the club to this day, I think the Super League not happening has made all this inevitable. And hopefully we can continue to protest. Hopefully we can continue to support the Glazers out movement for as long as it's going to take. I hope it will not take a lot longer. I don't want to see any more home matches with Glazer protests. Let's have them out by the time the season starts. Let's have them out within the next couple of weeks. That's the ideal scenario. Who is in the comments as well? Lucky Singh is saying, I only watch matches at home and at pubs. I mean, yeah, matches are good at home. They're good at the pubs. And like it is, you do get all the replays and the VAR stuff, the analysis. So it is good. Who else is in there? Isaac has said full sale first. Yes, I hope so. For definitely we need that full sale to come in. Who else is in the comments? Big T says, do you think we get out of the group stage of the Champions League? I think we do. I think depending on who we get, we definitely can do it. I think we can go on a bit of a run next year in the Champions League. Don't think we'll win it, but I think we can definitely get quarterfinals maybe. I think that's realistic. Lucky Singh says, I feel free to support the club in that way. Yeah, completely agree. Support the club however you guys want. And it is one thing I don't like is this kind of connotations, these accusations, people who watch around the world that they're not real fans. I mean, I know guys who've been staying up in Thailand to watch some matches and have to be up at like 3 in the morning. Same for guys in America. Everybody is part of the United family, and that's what everybody is meant to be. So I think there is no real United fans, no fake United fans. There's just United fans, and that's what I believe. Stephanie is saying full sale only. Yes, completely agree. We want full sale. That's what we need from this. More money coming in, get that investment, get rid of the debt, and go out and improve the team. Stacey has said, I don't want Sir Jim either. I don't think many people do, especially on the channel here. You guys are very, very much in favor of Qatari ownership, and I don't blame you guys. I mean, what is there from the Glazers that we want them to stay? There is nothing, and Radcliffe is promising to let them stay on. He says he will make a promise to buy them out eventually, but how long is that going to take? We could have 10 years of Glazers still being at the club, still taking money out, still stopping us from investing the money we need in new stadiums or in terms of the players, the training facilities. We need those guys out. Rajat says, got to get it out of the group stage, round 16, competitive qualify. Yeah, I mean, 100%, got to get out of the group stage. That's the first thing we have to do. And depending on the draw, I think we can do it. Maybe we can win the group. Big T says, if the Glazers and Maguire go, who will the community complain about next season? Yeah, I mean, I know Maguire gets a lot of flack. I mean, I don't think he's really played enough matches this season to warrant being the big scapegoat that he has been. I think David De Gea is quickly becoming that guy. Everybody has their own thoughts on that. But there's definitely things we do need to improve on. I think Maguire, yes. De Gea, probably. I think what we want to do is be at the level where if we lose a match, we can say, why did we lose? And if somebody plays bad, we can say, they played bad, or if the tactics were wrong, tactics were wrong. I think the constant scapegoating is something that you are right about, man. Rajat says 100% of club to go. Yes. Lucky Singh says, would Radcliffe buy a new stadium? I don't think so. Rajat says, won't buy Glazer nomics pick from them. Yeah, absolutely. Put more money in the women's game. And from Lucky Singh, yeah, I mean, first thing the Glazer family did when they came into this football club was scrap the women's team. And then they have the nerve to turn up to women's matches and the women's FA Cup final. I mean, the guys have no shame. Who else is in the comments? Stacey's saying we want Qatar, not Sir Jim. As well, get the Glazers out. Yeah, completely agree. Rajat says Hojlund and another striker. I hope so. I think we need that extra striker. I think Martial, we cannot rely upon him. Hojlund is only, what, 20, 21? Maybe we do need an experienced player to come in as well. Gavin is saying, if Jim can't buy 100% now, how's he going to buy players and fix the stadium? Probably with Ineos money or taking out a loan. There was talk that he would take out a loan on his company and invest it in United. But, I mean, that's just more debt over United's head. So, I don't know how I feel about that one. Stephanie is saying, doesn't matter where you go or watch or listen to United matches, we're all proper fans and we want to win trophies, play attractive, exciting football. Back our boss, we have a gem. Yeah, I back the manager, I back most of the players, that's what we want to do. And if you watch at home, you listen to the radio, if you're following it on your phone, on Twitter, whatever, you guys are everybody's much a fan as anybody else, in my opinion. Gavin says, yes, I've read that already. Sorry. Big T, if the Golden Boot makes you the best striker, does Golden Glove make you the best keeper? It's a good question. I don't think so. I think in terms of overall defending is a team game. I mean, you need your outfield players to work hard off the ball. You need your defenders to make tackles, make blocks. Your midfielders have to win the ball in midfield, make interceptions. I think in terms of goal scoring, you can add a lot less to your team and still get a lot of goals. I mean, Erling Haaland doesn't add a lot to the City team outside of goals, but he's got 58 goals this season. I mean, that's what it comes down to, I think. Rajat says, are we going to spend 60 million on Hojlund and 100 million on Kane? Wow, that shows the Glazers twisted mentality. I think that's a separate comment there. Yes, it would be a very big ask to go out and spend 150 million on strikers this year. I think realistically, if we bought Hojlund, I think he would be the main striking signing. I think what we could do is go after a free agent. I think Marcus Thuram could be a decent option for free. Like, I mean, you can't complain about that sort of deal. Who's that? Ignacio is an underrated centre back. Yeah, he's quite good. Lucky Singh says Martial let him go to Fiorentina for 12 million. I haven't seen anything about Martial going for 12 million, but there is talk about players leaving Manchester United, and we will bring that to you guys now. So Fabrizio was speaking on United Stand earlier, and he says Dean Henderson very close to going to Nottingham Forest on a permanent deal. Very positive from that. I think that's good news because Dean Henderson, it's not going to work out at United for him. Nottingham Forest, they want to pay 25 to 30 million. That's a deal that makes sense. Let's get that money. Let's invest it. That's what I want to do. Stephanie says Glazers being there on Saturday probably unsettled us. Too many distractions this season. Need to remove these owners and concentrate on playing good and winning football matches. Yes, I do agree. I think what we need is the concentration to be on the pitch, on the transfers, on the football on the pitch, not this whole circus about Jim Radcliffe or Qatar or Glazers. Will they stay? Will they go? We need clarity. We need to know what's happening. And now we have the break now between the last season and next season starting off. We have a small break before the transfer window starts. Let's get some clarification. Let's see where we're going to be sold, and let's get it done. I mean, there is bound to be, like, I'm not a financial expert, but there has to be some sort of financial regulations. I mean, at some stage, the markets are probably going to look at United's share price being so high and think this has been artificially raised. There's bound to be laws against that. I'm positive that there is. Rajat says, get Firmino, don't care about the Liverpool connection. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Firmino will come to Manchester United. I would be very surprised if that one went down. In terms of the poll we are currently running in the comments, we are asking you guys who will be United's first signing. Will it be Mount, Kane, Hojlund, or Kim Min Jae. At the moment, after 200 votes, Mason Mount 57% of the vote. You guys seem to think Mason Mount will be first signing. Rajat says, Jason Burt says Ten Hag wants two strikers and a midfielder, including Mount. Yes, I'm sure Erik Ten Hag does, and I think that is what we kind of need at this team. We need, I mean, you think about it, like our midfield options at the moment: McTominay, Fred, Casemiro, and Eriksen. McTominay and Fred, not good enough. Eriksen, Casemiro, both over 30. We only have Anthony Martial as a striker. We have to go and improve there. We have to improve with a striker, improve with more midfielders coming in, and from there, I think, then we start to look at other positions. I think a goalkeeper will be happening, no doubt, in my opinion. In terms of Mason Mount, there is another report to bring you guys. Jamie Jackson has been speaking on Stretford Paddock, actually, and he has says, it could be a surprise now if it didn't happen. There might only be a little bit of sticking point on the price from Chelsea's end, but that is the only hold-up. So Mason Mount, he definitely could be coming to Manchester United. I think that's an interesting point, and I was expecting some sort of news, and I think that definitely was going to happen. According to the Daily Mail as well, Manchester United admire Caicedo and Lavia, and Southampton are likely to demand £40 million for the midfielder. I don't think that's a bad price. I think we can see the quality in the guy, and at his age, very good player. Very good player. So there's about Mason Mount in there. Let's see who else is in the comments as well. Rajat is saying there's a young Uruguayan striker named Matthias. Oh, well, that's Big T. Sorry. Matthias Arezzo will be worth a look at. I haven't heard of him. I will look into him. I know there's a guy linked from Chicago Fire. 19-year-old could be interesting. Rajat says find the Glazers to be bad businessmen. Yes, they are. A good businessman doesn't have so much uncertainty about selling. A good businessman would say, I am selling the club. This is how much I want, and when I get this much, I will accept it. And the Glazers aren't doing that. They're just greedy men, and that's all they want. Lucky Singh says, Mohamed Kudus or Lavia with Mount for me. Would love to see it. David is saying no to the rat. And who else is in the comments as well? Tashil is saying, I don't accept anyone's only Sheikh to say my Man United life. I think that's just repeated. Rajat says, Mount is 50 or 55% done. I'm not usually one for percentages. I do think in terms of personal terms being agreed, that's close. I think in terms of transfer fee, does seem to be a little bit of gap, a little bit of a difference between what the clubs want, but I'm sure they will settle on something eventually. And Gavin is saying, I will not be surprised if Ten Hag resign. You can tell he is frustrated by what's going on. I don't think he'll resign. I don't think that will happen, but I do know he's frustrated. We can see it in him. When the manager of Manchester United is talking about the takeover being distracting, when he doesn't know how much money he has this summer, that's not a good sign. That's definitely not positive. Innocent says Greenwood will be back soon. I'm not sure if he'll be back soon, but I do expect to see word on Mason Greenwood soon. Either he will be sold, let go, or kept at the club. Do expect word to come out soon. There has to be some sort of resolution, and I think that's something we can do internally. Definitely for me, that can be done pretty quickly by the club internally, and we don't need Glazer say on this. This can be something Ten Hag can decide, something CEO, director of football, the board will probably decide themselves. So, in terms of Man United going after Lavia, Southampton looking 40 million, I think that's well worth the price. I think go for the guy. I think he'll be absolutely brilliant. And we're seeing that on the comments as well. Let's see who else is in here. Mazden is saying we need Greenwood back for the coming season, and Eric is saying we should protest at Ineos and the Rat. Thank you very much for the comment. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think anything will happen in terms of a protest against Ineos unless they buy the club. Rajat says Erik Ten Hag wants Greenwood back. He might do. I don't think it's up to him. I think it will be a board decision, and we will have to wait on that one. Big T says, who would you like the new owners to introduce as a director of football? There's an interesting question. I know there was talk of Jim Radcliffe looking Luis Campos out of PSG. I mean, I see their director of football walking onto the touchline to shout at the players. That's not what I want. I think Paul Mitchell, maybe from Monaco, could be an okay option. But a bit like, I think if you could get anybody out of Brighton, you'd be doing well as well. Those guys have had some fantastic signings. really good young players coming in. We could definitely get on that. Who else is in there? Rajat is saying, don't really want to miss out on Caicedo. No, absolutely. I think Caicedo is a brilliant player. Double A is in there. How's it going? Back in the house. How's it going, man? Good to see you back on the channel. How is it going? And Lucky Singh says, could we get Marcus Thuram? Liverpool didn't buy him. Absolutely. I think Marcus Thuram, free transfer for a guy 25 years old, scored, what, like 15 goals last season? If that's your second choice striker coming in, that's a really good option. And for free, you cannot complain. I mean, if you wanted to buy Marcus Thuram last season, probably costing 25, 30 million. Rizat says get Rio Ferdinand as the director of football. I don't know, man. He did say to get Ollie in. Who else is in there? Big T saying out of Brighton, it's the scouts we want. Yeah, I mean, that would be a good shout. And Double A saying, Stefan, where's your retro blue Adidas kit? I actually don't have a retro blue one. I think it's the retro one that usually hangs up there. I wore it for the FA Cup final, so it is getting washed. I am washing it. It's actually drying now as well. So it will be back up pretty soon. Stephanie is saying, Red Summer Lavia is still on City's book, but could be an issue, but would love him at United. I think what it is whilst he's a Southampton player, they have a buyback clause of around 30 to 40 million pounds next season. So what they could do is buy him next season back, but we could sign him this season if we are quick and decisive. Rajat says, will Eriksen get moved on? I don't think so. We will want to keep as many talented players in the midfield. He might not be a starter next season, certainly won't start every match, but I think he will be kept. Lucky Singh says, I love Ralph Rangnick as director of the board. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have seen Rangnick stick around. I don't think it worked out for many different reasons, but it would have been a smart thing. And Rizat said, went to Wembley. No, I didn't, man. I wish I did. It would have been a great experience, but unfortunately not. And Stephanie says, thanks for clarifying. No problem. Player recruitment, Ralph would yeah, absolutely. Player recruitment is a good thing of Rangnick's. He's not a great manager. We know that. But in terms of looking at young talent, I think he's very, very good as well. So who else is in the comments? Gavin is saying Caicedo was offered to United for 4 million when Ollie was in charge, and they turned him down. Yes, that turned down because of a player agent fee. I think the agent wanted like 100, 200,000. I mean, in hindsight, we should have just paid that money to him. Innocent says, so our team didn't scout any players from relegated teams. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with buying players from relegated teams. I think some players have been very good. I mean, Andy Robertson relegated twice and brilliant player for Liverpool. I think if you're a good player, you can still be on a bad team for whatever reason, especially if you're young, especially if you're a young player. Rajat says, wouldn't be surprised about Chelsea or City getting Lavia. I mean, Lavia, he would be a Chelsea type player. I think they will go for Caicedo. And Stephanie is saying Ralph is right about open heart surgery. Ralph Rangnick said we needed 10 players, and I think we still do. I mean, we've brought in 5 last summer. I think we need another 5 this summer to try to compete. Big T says we said no to Haaland years ago. Yes, we did, unfortunately. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said as a mold manager, get this guy. He's like 16. He's absolutely incredible, and we didn't get him. Rajat is also saying Goretzka has links to the club. Yeah, I've seen that today. It could be an interesting signing. I like Goretzka as a player. I think his injuries are a little bit concerning, but I think he's very good, and he has been for many years at Bayern, and he would be a good player to bring in if he could stay fit. I think could be very, very tasty for Manchester United. Let's see if there's anything else coming out. Jamie Jackson, of course, from The Guardian speaking. The Stretford Paddock, do you expect news coming out? Moses Caicedo is on United's wish list, and Brighton want at least £80 million for the midfielder. So there's a player we could have bought for £4 million just a couple of seasons ago. And if we want him, we have to pay 80 million for him. Are we surprised? No, we're not. We are not surprised whatsoever. This is how United run as a club. This is how we operate. We like players to go and build up a massive price tag before we even try to buy them. Let's see. Who else is in there? Lucky Singh saying we need young players we can develop. I think we have some very good young players in the academy. Garnacho coming through, Kobe Manu, Zidane Iqbal, players who could have a future. In terms of young players bought in, yes, Rasmus Hojlund, great option. Only 20, 21. Caicedo, if he comes in, Lavia could be a really nice option. Rajat says, Phil Badergaard is gone, but we were too late. Yeah, he's a fantastic player. Really, really good player, and I would love him at United. But he will be very good for PSG. Make no mistake about it. And I like PSG's business. They're buying hard-working players who will be doing bits for them, and they will be a better team for it. Big T says, would you give Zaha a second shot as our second striker? I mean, he's leaving Palace on a free. There was talk of him going. I think I actually saw Atletico Madrid. I think that could be a surprising signing if that came off for Atletico, but I mean, it could be interesting. Zaha didn't work out at the time. I think he admitted himself he was too young and immature for the signing at the time, but if given another chance, he would go for it again. Rizat says, what a Yuri Tielemans on a free. I think we could do worse. I actually think I prefer Tielemans to Rabiot, in my opinion. And on a free, yeah, could be a really good option. And if you're bringing in Tielemans and Mason Mount, and your midfield next season is Casemiro, Tielemans, Bruno, Eriksson, maybe Fred, Kobe Manu, that's really good. I think maybe another sitting midfielder like a Lavia would be another great option on top of that. But that's a very, very strong midfield. And all of a sudden, it's gone from one of the weaker areas in the pitch to one of the strongest, if not the strongest. And I think that's what we have to do. Bring in quality, bring in depth. And we've seen we've seen at the end of the season, you guys, I'm sure you remember, Casemiro right before we started playing one match a week, the guy looked exhausted. See, when we had rest between matches, Casemiro was all of a sudden the best player on the pitch again. And he just needs a little bit of rest, somebody to take that midweek off him, and he can play weekend to weekend, playing the biggest matches, and you manage players like that. We've done it with Rafael Varane this season, where he hasn't played a lot of midweek matches, and we've kept him fitter for longer this season than we managed all of last season. And that's what we have to do. Get some rotation options in. Lack of rotation, small squad, it has killed us in some competitions this season. If we can do that, if we can keep our best players fit, I'll be very, very happy with that. Let's see. Stephanie is saying, long list of missed transfer opportunities. Caicedo, Haaland, Alvarez, Grealish, etc. Going to be interesting to see what happens with Van de Beek. Yeah, I think it will be interesting. I can fully expect him to be sold. I don't think we'll get a lot of money. I think his injury record, his lack of form will go against him. Maybe a move back to Ajax would suit him best. Big T says, worries me that Tielemans does not get much interest from anywhere. Yeah, I do agree with that. We don't know what he's like behind the scenes. There might be attitude issues there. Will be interesting to see. Lucky Singh says, Lavia, Mount, Casemiro, Eriksson, Fred as a midfield would be brilliant options. And I would love to see it next season. Rajat says, need to get rid of Scott McTominay. I mean, McTominay is not the worst player, but if we need to sell, we need to get money in, and Newcastle, West Ham are offering £30 million. Sell him by all means. You can get a better player for that much easily. Rahan says, I think we should sell Sancho while he's still a good asset. There is definitely a debate to be made about that. I mean, this is Sancho's second season. This was where he was meant to really kick on as a player. I think last couple of weeks of the season were better, but still not there. Ashid says, good evening, good to see you, man. Good evening as well. Everybody who knows Unai Emery will understand the reference, of course. Rizat says, Caicedo, Casemiro, Eriksson, Bruno, Fred, and Mount. That could be a brilliant midfield. Lovely balance, a lot of different options in there. Some young players, some fast players, got attacking players, sitting players who can control the game as well. Would be very, very happy if that was the midfield for next season. I'd be very positive with that. Other than that, not too much else to get through in terms of the news. Jimmy Jackson has been speaking on the takeover. Nothing that's really going to excite us fans. Probably going to worry us, guys. But Jimmy Jackson has said, of course, regarding the takeover, both parties, so Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, are both in the dark regarding the sale. So once again, the Glazers are keeping those guys waiting. Rajat says, got Donny because he was very cheap for 35 million. Yeah, I mean, we got him after a very good Champions League season, and his price was okay, I guess. Hasn't worked out at all. Big T says, has it gone quiet on Ruben Neves now? Yeah, it does look to have been. I mean, Neves is a player I would have loved to sign at United. I still think he could be good for us. He would kind of sit back and control the tempo from deep. I would love to see how he does at a better club than Wolves. A very talented player who has wasted a lot of his time at Wolves, in my opinion. Zacharias says, you and us is just the same thing. How do you give people information? Stop deceiving, bro. I mean, I'm not deceiving you guys. It is literally um the information coming out in terms of the news for United. It's why I'm sure you guys see it in every single message I put into the comments when I'm talking about it. I always include where the news is coming from, just so you guys can go and read it yourselves. That's where it's coming from. So that one is coming. Jamie Jackson, who writes for the Guardian newspaper in the UK. Rahan says, any news on Harry Kane? Not too much on Kane today, other than there was talk, of course, coming out that Real Madrid would be interested. We will have to wait and see on that one. Lucky Singh says, McTominay, we want to sell first. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I think he could do well at a smaller club, maybe a club who do not hold a lot of possession, like a West Ham. Could be a really good option. Even Newcastle could be a good shot for McTominay. I'm sure Eddie Howe would like to see McTominay at his club. Innocent is saying Chelsea star Mason Mount continues to be linked with the transfer to Manchester United as the 24-year-old enters the final 12 months of his contract. Yes, that is where we're getting into with Mount. I think it will happen pretty soon. Samuel is saying United need to bring players like Hojlund because of his similarities to Haaland. I mean, yeah, both Scandinavian, both young strikers, very talented, of course, very quick. Hojlund, a good player as well. He's not at Haaland's level, but he certainly could get to a very good level. I think he could be really good to bring in. Rizat says, hopefully Rabiot's mum steps in for high wages. I mean, yeah, that happened last year. Was wages that it came down to. Wages, aids and fees. Hopefully not. Lucky Singh says West Ham Newcastle ready to pick him up. I'm assuming that's about McTominay. That's what the talk is saying anyway. In terms of other news coming out, I will check for you guys, of course. So, according to Adrian Kajumba, he writes for the Daily Mail, he is saying on regard to Romeo Lavia, he is admired by Man United and Southampton are expected to demand 40 to 50 million. I think that's Southampton kind of putting a squeeze on United. Those guys will know if we want him, we will pay that money because he can go to City next season for 30 million. It's probably a negotiation tactic. Stephanie says Ten Hag likes a big, strong striker, and Hojlund would be perfect. I think he would be very good, very young player, can grow into it, and he would be like quite moldable, in my opinion. Ten Hag could mold him into his perfect type of striker. Rajat says Kane will go to Real Madrid, maybe, perhaps he might. Big T says, would you give Wolves Traore a look? He can run and drive, could fit Ten Hag style. I mean, Adama Traore, when he gets going, man, he is one of the hardest players to stop because he is so fast and so strong. He genuinely would be a really good option for many clubs. I don't know what's happening in terms of him at Wolves. He didn't seem to play a lot last season, but I do think he could be an interesting option. I mean, if Adama Traore had end product in his game, the guy would be unstoppable. No mistake about it. Rahan says Hojlund would not be able to hit the ground running. He might not be able to, and I think that's why Erik Ten Hag wants an experienced striker as well. I think ideally he wants Kane and Hojlund. I don't think he'll get both, and I think he knows that as well. Rajat says McTominay and 75 million for Rice. How's that feel? Not a bad deal. I mean, Declan Rice, I feel like he's going to go to Arsenal, but I mean, something could happen there. In terms of other signings and other comments, Kovacic was free until Man City came. United last summer, Mount, Kim Min Jae, Lautaro, and perhaps Hojlund. Yep, could be really good. And Ashid says Hojlund plus another striker. And Lucky Singh says Alex Telles to Portugal. Yeah, I think he definitely will be sold this summer. Fabrizio said this on United Stand. You guys can check it out as well. Expect Eric Bailly to leave, Dean Henderson, Alex Telles, all will be sold for sure this season. Big T says, would you bring Son with Kane? I mean, it could be interesting. I think there's a lot of similarities in Son's game and Rashford's game. They occupy the same positions. Both are goal-scoring left wingers playing on the inside as an inside forward type role. I think that Kane would get a lot out of Rashford. They link up quite well for England, and it could be good at United. Rajat says, like Gonzalo Ramos, don't get why United fans don't really like him. I like Ramos. I think he's brilliant. I think it comes down to price tag. I think Benfica want £85 million for him. It's a lot of money for a guy who is just 21. He would be worth it. I think he is a very talented player. It just depends on what happens. Who else is in there as well? Missed the boat with McAllister, says Rajat, we might have. And Innocent says Porto goalkeeper Diogo Costa has cool talk linking him with a summer move to United. Yeah, I saw that last night. He said he was only interested in Porto. I mean, Costa is brilliant. One of the best young goalkeepers in the world. If you were talking a long-term replacement for De Gea, I think Costa's your guy. I mean, there was talk about Verbruggen. He's not ready for it yet. I think Diogo Costa walks into that team and takes the number 1 jersey. Big T says, I've been calling for Ramos for a long time. Yes, I do remember that, man. I do really like Gonzalo Ramos. I think he would be brilliant at United. He else is in there as well. Rahan says, Osimhen likes to play with back to goal and at the front post would be great because it wouldn't interfere with Rashi. I mean, yeah, Osimhen would be brilliant. I think it comes down only with price tag for Osimhen. I think that's a big difference here. I think Napoli looking 150 million, that's worrying for me. I don't know if they will go for it. Who else is in there? Rahan is saying fans moaning about Mount, don't know what he'll be like, and also would fit our homegrown check. We do need that. Tottenham want to buy Harry Maguire, allegedly, for the same reason. I'll try to get that into the comments because I do like to let you guys know where the news is coming from. There are people, of course, who seem to mix some stuff up online. I do like to make sure I'm letting you guys know where everything is coming from as well. So let me just load that up. Just when we're talking about homegrown quotas, because it's important to me that I do give you guys some correct information, that there is a source behind everything, because I don't like making things up. I'm not that guy, never have been, and never will be. There are plenty who did. I'm not one of those guys. So The Athletic, talking about Harry Maguire, said Manchester United believe he's worth £40 million. I don't know where they're getting that from, but he will never be worth £40 million. And it was also coming as well from who's a source, Paul O'Keefe as well, so an FA registered intermediary, and he does player representation, and he has said Harry Maguire is a player Tottenham would consider moving for as they look to add to their homegrown quota. So I will get that into the chat for you guys. It is something I do all the time. I do like to make sure everything is verified and we have a source coming from it. Not everything will be correct all the time, but if we have a source, we know where it's come from, and we can then not trust that guy in future. Who else is in here? Stephanie saying Rashi, not Arsenal, is a striker winger that scores goals. Hopefully Anthony chips in more next season. Yes, he needs a bigger season for sure. Rajat says, Rohan says it is 8 players for that. I'm sure we have plenty, and Kudus is more attacking cam or wing. Kudus very versatile, got of roles. I would love to see him at United. Who else is in the comment as well? Adam Saunders is saying, bit of a risk, but I've had Tielemans on a free. I think we could do worse on a free. I definitely think he could be an interesting buy for United. Why don't we try Martial and cash on Osimhen? I think it all depends if Napoli want Anthony Martial. But maybe. Big T says homegrown players can include English young foreign players who have played for an English club for 3 seasons before 21. Yes, I do remember. I think it's like academy graduates as well go into it. I always remember Paul Pogba counted towards it despite being French, of course. Let's see. Lucky Singh says we want genuine news 100%. Yeah, it is something I do try to bring you guys. And we always put into the comments who has said the information as well, just so you guys can go back and check it if you guys want to. We always put it in the comments for you guys. I think it's only fair to do so. Samuel has says McTominay, Van de Beek and Martial, Anthony Elanga, Weghorst and Maguire out. Yeah, I do think a lot of those players will go. McTominay could be sold. Van de Beek definitely. Martial probably will go. Elanga, we want 10 million. I think he will go. Weghorst, he is potentially going to Everton on a transfer from Burnley, but all depends on what Vincent Kompany wants to do there. And Harry Maguire, I think, will be sold for sure. No doubt about it in my mind. I think he will be sold. Mount lives from the through ball to Havertz. I mean, Mount's through balls are brilliant. He could find Rashford in behind. His spatial awareness and occupying of half spaces is very, very good. And his movement is very good. Very intelligent player. Rajat says would like Kudus, but I think we need more defensive midfield than attacking. Yeah, I think kind of box-to-box defensive midfield. Somebody I mean, if you're a tactician, they tend to call it a first phase player. It's someone who basically drops in close to the back line, picks the ball up, and gets us moving up the pitch. Casemiro can do it, but he isn't the best at it. His strengths, of course, winning the ball, moving forward with it. But we definitely can add to it as well. Big T says, just never post anything that comes out of the sun. Nah, man, I wouldn't post anything coming out of the sun, man. Absolutely not. Rajat says, can't believe United screwed up. City 70% getting the treble done. Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be done. They're 2/3 of the way there. And they're probably favourites to beat Inter Milan. I wouldn't be surprised. And it's disappointing, but I mean, United, we didn't do our job with it for one reason or another. Let's see, who else is saying? Innocent is saying Fred must stay. I think we will extend his deal. Certainly I would. If I was running United. Boyd has said Kane and Hojlund will be able to hit the ground running in no time. Let's go for them both. Will be two brilliant options for sure. And Big T says, was Perisic mentioned first last week? I don't think so. I haven't seen anything on Perisic for a long time. Obviously, a player Jose Mourinho wanted at United. We never went for him. Thankfully, we kept Martial and Rashford. At one time, I would have took Perisic. I think he's a good player, would offer a lot different. Would be a player who definitely would look to cross the ball. I think interesting. Lucky Singh says, Fred, don't know about. Yeah, I mean, thing is with Fred. Now, Fred is a good player. He does a job. He works hard for the team. I think if Fred stays, he wouldn't be a starter by any means, but he would be a rotation player. Someone to put on if we have a big match and we want more legs in midfield. Just kind of like what we have done this season, but he wouldn't be first choice. It's what he wants to do. Ashid says Inter Milan 3, City 0. I mean, I hope so, man. I really hope that happens. Let's see. Rajat says keep Sabitzer, or will he go back? I don't think Sabitzer will be staying. Of course, Bayern Munich, they will maybe want to sell him. It all depends on whether we want him. I think his injury record was an issue at United. Did miss a couple of matches despite only being here from January. So I don't know about Sabitzer. I think he's good. I think he's got qualities for the right team. He would be a good fit. Who else is in there? Satwan saying Jim Radcliffe out. And Adam says swap Fred for Paulinho. I mean, Paulinho would be a nice backup to Casemiro. A couple of players in that Fulham team are quite good as well. Fulham do seem to be most likely for Fred. And Big T says, I think Fred plays better further forward. Using him defensively hinders him. Yeah, I do agree. I mean, Fred, for a lot of his United career, was playing in a pivot with McTominay sitting back and kind of screening the back four. It isn't his strong point. He isn't good enough on the ball for that. When you push him further forward and Fred can run with the ball, dribble, and press the opposition's backline, I think you get a lot more out of him, and you don't have that risk of Fred giving the ball away very close to your penalty box. Rajat says Milinkovic-Savic on a free could be a great deal. I don't think his contract's up, but I do like him, and I think certainly a couple of seasons ago would have loved to see Milinkovic-Savic at United. Still think he would offer something good to the team, but he has been a player we've been after for what, like 10 years? We do have to question whether it's ever going to happen at this point. Let's see, anything else coming out, I will bring you guys just when we are here. Just checking the latest news as always. Any more thoughts, just keep getting them into the comments, guys. According to Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea don't want to sit down to negotiate for Mount. It's 70 million or nothing. So that is coming from Fabrizio. I don't know, man. That's I doubt it. I think that's just Chelsea trying to take a hard line, in my opinion. I think they're just trying to get as much money. But there is no official bid yet from Fabrizio Romano. Chelsea don't want to negotiate. United, we shouldn't pay that much money for him, and if we get the right money, if we get him for the right price, yeah, I mean, Mount could be a good player, absolutely. All comes down to prices, so I will get that into the chat for you guys. I mean, Chelsea will have to come down. Realistically, Mount wants to leave. He's got a year left on his contract. They will sell him for 40 or 50 million. I don't doubt that. It will eventually happen. Can't blame Fred about this fully. Yeah, I mean, I like Fred. I do like the guy. I think he's a good player, works hard for the team. He does his job. He never makes a fuss. And if we want to keep him for another season, I think absolutely. Absolutely, I would. Lucky Singh says United should get him if we cannot get Lavia. I think that's Milinkovic-Savic. Yeah, be a good player. Big T says, historically, we have players who worked hard that were not mind-blowingly good. Gary Neville comes to mind. Yes, I mean, Wes Brown, John O'Shea, Ji-Sung Park. I mean, Park was a good player, but his work rate was what made him very important to that team. Darren Fletcher as well, probably. I mean, you need these hard-working players. Not everybody is going to be a 10 out of 10 superstar. You do need hard-working players. I mean, I think N'Golo Kante, certainly in the last 10 years, one of the best defensive midfielders, that sort of box-to-box engine job. He was never a fantastic player in terms of his overall style of play, his talent. He wasn't the best passer, wasn't a great goal scorer. Kante was a very effective player because he worked harder than everybody else and he made his tackles and he was very effective for his team. Stefan is saying, let's hope Inter do an Italian job. I hope so. Rajat says, City can do what they want. Don't really need to focus on our club. Yes, we do need to focus on United. Everything's out of our hands now. We do not have any sort of a say in the treble. Let's just focus on ourselves. Get the sale done. Get this transfer window done. Go in next season with a better team ready to push for big honours, in my opinion. Let's see. Ashid says, eyes lit up when United come. Everybody wants to buy players in the club. Yeah, I mean, when United come knocking, the price goes up. There's no doubt about it. Lucky Singh says, I like hard-working players to help the team. Yes, every team needs it. I mean, every team needs those hard-working players who do the graft, do the running, and that gets more out of the best players. I mean, look at examples when all the best players have been in one team. It doesn't usually work. I mean, PSG, what? Neymar, Mbappe, Messi as a front three. You don't get better than that. But because there was no work, there was no running, it didn't work. Rajat says, does Ten Hag want to keep on playing counter-attacking or possession? He will want to move towards possession. That's why we're going for more midfield options. Probably Kim Min Jae at the back, maybe a new goalkeeper. He will want that sort of passing game. He will want more possession for sure. Key word for Ten Hag is control. He has said this all season long, the importance of controlling matches. And at the moment we don't. He will want that to be improved. Big T says forwards who are not prolific scorers can work. Look at Heskey and what he did for his teams. I mean, look at Liverpool as well. Roberto Firmino never scored as many goals as Salah or Mane, but he worked hard and he made that team work. And that's what you need sometimes, is facilitators as much as star players, in my opinion. So guys, any more thoughts, get them into the comments. If you guys are new and you want to support the channel, please consider hitting that sub button as well. Helps us out so much. Support has been amazing on the channel all season long, and especially in the last couple of weeks. Really appreciate all the support from you guys. Let's see, another comment that's come in there. Look at Ji-Sung Park and Brown, not world class. Yeah, absolutely. Lucky Singh says that's why Lavia and Mohamed Kudus could be crucial to get in. Yes, they could be. Very good players. Lavia especially works hard. Would be a great option in my opinion. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them into the chat. We will stay live for another bit as well. And yeah, in terms of the poll, 315 votes. Mason Mount, 53% of you guys reckon he will be first signing this summer. So that's positive for Mount. Hopefully we get a lot of those players in. I think they would really raise the technical levels, the energy levels of the team, and there will be younger players as well, and that will be very important. Stephanie has said, class, control, that's what we need. Grit craft, guile, craft, and class, and control. That's what we need. That's a lot of C's and G's. I did struggle to read that. That's what we need. A nice blend. Yes, a nice blend. A bit of balance. Control in this game. Control in this team. Let's see. Lucky Singer says, get players in the attack moving up the pitch. Yep, more pressing is needed. Rajat says, Ten Hag is more like Klopp. I mean, it's kind of a mix between Klopp and Pep and Dutch origins, the Dutch style football as well. He is his own guy as well. Lucky Singh says, get Mount in quick. And Big T says, any TTA off the community Discord. I am working on that. What I would need is a couple of guys, probably just to do mods and stuff for it as well. But I will try to get that hopefully within the next week or so. I will try to get that up and running, and we'll post transfer stuff in there, anything we see, and of course, all of the usual community stuff as well. Rajat says Mount comes at the end of June. I think he might be the first deal. Erik Ten Hag apparently would like signings done in the next couple of weeks. I agree with him. Let's get these done. Our preseason starts in July. Let's get them in early. That's what I want to see. from United, from the board. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them into the comments, and yeah, we will go through them as well. So I am positive. I think things are moving forward in the transfer window. Things are not moving forward fast enough in terms of the sale. We do have the right manager. He knows what players he wants. We need to go out and back the manager, get him the players he needs, and we will improve as a team. No doubt about it in my mind. He's in there. Abel says, first of all, owner of our club, we need Qatari, bro. We don't need Sir Jim Radcliffe. He's another Glazer. I mean, we don't know what Radcliffe's intentions are. We know what Qatar want to do. They want to invest that money and spend that money. And I think by and large, most people on the channel, we do seem to want Qatari in. And I just want the Glazers gone. And if it's Qatar going to do it, then so be it. I mean, we need that investment. We are so far off catching up with City. We have to spend that kind of money. That's what we need to do in this upcoming transfer window. Big T says Rabiot and Kim Min Jae can't come until July. Probably not. Who else is in there? Lucky Singh says glad the transfers are moving. Just get the club gone. And Stephanie says great show, big ups, and to the chat. Thank you very much, guys. With that, we will leave the stream here. If you guys are new and you want to support the channel, please consider hitting that sub button. Helps us out so much. And yes, guys, we will see you guys in the next one.